The following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Maysteel, not WBEV or Good Karma Brands.
And welcome into Taking Care of Business. Of course, this month of October, we are focusing on manufacturing, specifically manufacturers in the greater Dodge County area. Our first guest today is with Maysteel, and I'm speaking with Steve Guzewski.
That is correct.
Perfect. And Steve, give us a little bit of background about who you are and what you do at Maysteel and Maysteel itself.
I'm plant manager at Maysteel in Allington, Wisconsin. We have about 177 employees at the plant in Allington. We have about 850 corporate-wide. We have 5 plants. Allington, we have Mexico, we have one in Colorado, Virginia, and Texas. So we're pretty well all over America. We cover pretty much the United States. We do a lot of manufacturing sheet metal. We're breaking into the EV charger business, so we're starting to make EV chargers for the future. We work in the utility sector, so we do a lot of transformers, all your light pole, transformers on light poles and the green boxes on the side of the road. We work in the server rack business, and then we also work into what they call hot and cold aisles. That is the buildings that the server racks go into for the air conditioning units. So we're pretty diverse as far as what kind of customer base we have, and I pretty much take care of the everyday daily needs of the customers and do plant tours, take care of the daily scheduling, in charge of quality and operations.
Wow, that's a lot. How long have you been with Maysteel?
30 years. So,
okay.
It's interesting that we have a lot of people that have 40 years, 45 years, and then we have what we call the new guard with 5 years or less. So we have a big mix of people that were having the old guard work with the new guard, what we'll call it, the people that paved the way for Maysteel, because we started that building in '77. And we have the new employees that are coming to take over, so we're trying to do a transition and mentorship programs.
Now, you said your local office here in Wisconsin is in Allington. Mm-hmm. How big is that facility?
It's 250,000 square feet.
Wow, it's a good-sized building.
Yeah, it's a very good size. And then all of our other plants are about between 100 and 150,000 square feet. So we're corporate headquarters is in Allington, so everything is located there, and that's the heart of the corporation.
Now, I've said this a couple of times doing this spotlight on manufacturing, that a lot of people, when they think of Wisconsin, think of the beers, the brats, the cheese, all that sort of stuff. But manufacturing is a huge, huge part of what we do here in the state. Have you found it important to be here in Wisconsin? Have you found that it's been a benefit for Maysteel to be here in Wisconsin?
Oh, absolutely. Wisconsin has a great work ethic. It's also a fun place to work. People are good. I can't tell you enough about Maysteel and the Wisconsin culture. I get on the shop floor. We have about 177 people there. I know something about everybody's family there, and I know everybody on first name basis. So I get out on the shop floor. My office is located on the shop floor, so we have an open door policy. But everybody can make sheet metal parts, but it's the culture that makes us different than other places.
Now, working with sheet metal, there are definitely some skilled things you have to know how to do there. I'm thinking like, brake press operators, people that run shear machines. Of course, you're going to have people that have to do maintenance, things like that. Tell me about your staffing levels. Tell me about the kind of openings that you guys might have. Is there anything you guys are looking for right now?
We always have openings for welders. Welders is a quality position, but we also have entry-level positions that we bring people in, and we are developing our people from within. So we have what we call Maysteel U, and entry-level people can come in and learn how to weld, and then we'll get them certified as a welder. And then once people get to learn how to weld, we're breaking into a new technology called fiber laser welding, and we have probably one of the best welders in Wisconsin, and I would say the Midwest. But it's a new technology, and then we can train them into the experienced welders into fiber laser welding, and then that gives them a raise to what we call a Tech 2 position. So you can promote from within.
Let's see, here's the incredible dork inside of me. I recently just acquired a fiber optic laser for use to mark metal and do other cool stuff and engrave on stainless steel, fun things. but it's definitely not at the same power level as what you guys are operating with. That is a really cool new piece of technology.
Yep. Our hand welders are 1,500 watt, and then the robots that we're looking at are 3,000 watts. So we want to break into the robot sector and start getting robotic fiber laser welding involved at the plant.
So now my 30-watt laser seems a little bit dwarfed, but that is still really cool. You mentioned a lot of different things that you guys are working on, everything from EV charger systems to, the stuff that has to do with utility lights, the server racks, which I've put in a few server racks in my day. I know how those work. That's a lot of diversification in sheet metal work. Is all of that handled in Allenton, or does Allenton have a specialized?
Nope, we handle, that's actually all made in Allington. One good thing is we have redundancy in our plants, so we can, if we get really busy, we can transfer some of our product into another plant. We buy all the same equipment, so we can transfer back and forth. So it's actually all over. Everybody can do all of our products in all of our plants, so it's pretty well diverse all the way through our corporation.
That is really awesome. You talked a little bit about Maysteel U and talked about bringing people in and training. When you guys are looking at those entry-level people and training them up, are you guys only looking for people who are, in their 20s? Are you guys talking to people starting at high school level and hoping to get them in early? How's that working for you guys?
All of the above. We have a program where we bring high school kids in that can work part-time as an apprentice. We bring in 20-year-old people that can start right out of high school. We bring in middle-aged people that want to start a new career. I've had people come out of nursing careers in our assembly department, in our welding departments. I've had people that never welded a day in their life and in their mid-40s and started welding, and 2 years later they're at the top of the pay grade. So.
And you touched on something there when it comes to manufacturing. The one thing I always hear people say who are in manufacturing is they make enough to get all the cool toys. If they got stuff they want, they usually don't have a problem affording it. And in this economy, making a little bit of money is never a bad thing. Talk to me a little bit about what employees can expect for benefits, compensation, without giving me hard numbers necessarily, but,
Well, we're competitive pay scale. Welders can make up to $30 an hour. Plus, we have full dental, full medical. We have a 401k match. So it's all the benefits are there.
That is awesome.
You have to be competitive in pay. The only thing that will change your why you want to go somewhere else is culture. So we're competitive in pay, but we're very, very heavy on culture at Maysteel. It's really important to be part of the Maysteel family.
Do you guys do any special cultural related events? Do you guys have team days or things like that you do?
Absolutely. We have brat fries. We just had a company picnic. I just ordered 250 turkeys. I think it's important for Thanksgiving,
right?
Rather than just giving somebody a gift certificate and say Happy Thanksgiving, we actually ordered turkeys, and we've been doing that, and that gives us a chance. And the CEO, the COO, they all come down, and we shake everybody's hand and wish them a happy Thanksgiving. And it's just things like that. It's the small things that make the difference at an employer. Wages, machines, all that anybody can do, but it's the culture that's the game changer at Maysteel.
That is really awesome, and I'm a big fan of turkey, so I like the sound of that.
Come on over, we got an extra one.
There you go. Let's talk a little bit about, because you mentioned something about the EV charger market, something you guys are kind of working into. Are there anything else that you guys are looking at that you guys are moving into that might be kind of cool, something different, something interesting? And we talked to me a little bit more about this EV charger thing. How did you guys get started with that?
Our sales group actually went out and met with some of the EV chargers. They go to shows and things like that. We are actually working with several of the biggest EV charger makers in the world, from Europe, that are breaking in. A lot of them are coming from Europe and breaking into the United States market. So we are doing all the prototypes. We have a tech center that we do first run pieces, and then we can expand from there, train in the tech center, and go from there. But it's a big market. So, and a lot of even the electronics and things like that, the server racks, you know how that changes. What's new today, 6 months will be old news, and you're always trying to upgrade things like that.
So I imagine you guys are having to work very, very closely with some of these other manufacturers, because if you're making a rack for somebody, it's got to fit what they need. And you know, if you're making a casing or whatever for an electric vehicle charging station, obviously you got to know what they're putting in it. You can't just put together a box.
Absolutely, and our doors are always open for them to come in. We have visitors all the time. Before I left for this, I had a customer in talking about a new project, and they are in. Every week we have a new customer or a current customer in with EC changes and things like that. So we're always moving forward with the customer base.
Workload. Things pretty steady. Are they increasing? What are you seeing?
Very good. It's kind of steady right now, but 2025 is looking like it's going to take off really good for us. I don't know if there's a lot of manufacturers that 2025 might not look so good, but we're set up for a great year next year.
And I'm assuming that means potentially even more hiring next year.
Absolutely.
That is always a good thing. I love to ask this question of people who work in a position like yours. If there was any other job that you could do there at Maysteel, keep your current salary, so don't even take salary into it, but just something you think would be fun to do, or even just to do for a day, what's something that you'd really love to do?
People aren't going to believe this at Maysteel. I'd like to work in sales because I know the product not well enough now. I know the customer base, and people have been telling me a little bit. I like to talk a lot. So I would think that would be a great career for me.
And see, I love to talk sales. Me and sales don't always get along. It's just not my forte. We've got a few minutes left that we can continue to talk about Maysteel here, and I want to utilize that as best we can. Talk to me about the relationship that the Allington location has with your other locations around the country, and you said in Mexico as well.
It's a very tight group. We have quarterly plant manager meetings. We go from plant to plant. I got back from Colorado a couple of weeks ago. We just acquired the Colorado plant about a year ago. Okay. So we did our first tour there, and we all have strategic meetings, and then we go out for dinner. And then it's about a 2 or 3 day meeting, and we kind of lay out strategically what we're going to do. But I'm on the phone all the time with the other plant managers. If they need anything or if I need anything, we're open to help. It's not a competition, it's a family.
Now, I'm assuming then if I'm an employee who happens to be based in, let's say, Colorado, and I say, you know what, I'd really love to make the move to Allington and work in the Wisconsin branch, is that something that's possible?
Absolutely. It's even from Mexico. I have a gentleman that transferred up from Monterrey, Mexico, and he's our quality manager now, and he's going for citizenship. So we're real proud to help him with that. And anything's possible. You can make your own destiny at Maysteel.
That's awesome. You guys should have that as a tagline somewhere if you don't already.
See, I told you I was going to be good in sales.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like to ask this about companies that have been around as long as Maysteel has. Is there a product that you guys maybe make now that you made at the very beginning that's still a popular product? Or have you guys evolved beyond those?
Transformers. We've been making them since '77, but before that, when we had other plants that we upgraded into the Allington plant. So we still do the transformers, the server racks we've always made. So there's a lot of mature product, but now the EV chargers and the buildings that the server racks go into. And there's also some technology for new ways of cooling the server racks, which is it's in its infancy now, but it's things that we want to move into. So
okay, like away from the standard fans and fins is what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I won't ask you to tell me more because
I can't. Yeah,
I was gonna say I don't want you to break any rules.
We're
and
on double secret probation on that one.
And I'm a big dork, so I could probably talk about a lot of that stuff for hours on end. Let's wrap up with, go ahead and give me your 60-second elevator pitch for why Maysteel. If somebody's looking to get into manufacturing and they're in this area, why you guys?
Everything is a family at Maysteel. It's all about the culture. Like I said earlier, we have the machines, we have the processes, we have all that stuff. And the pay, you can get that anywhere. but you can't get the Maysteel culture, the Maysteel family. That's what it's all about, from the CEO all the way down. Everybody gets out on the shop floor. We all know Kevin. We all know Todd. It's all on a first name basis. I walk up to the CEO's office and sit down in a chair, and we'll talk a little bit about cars sometimes and
Nice.
things like that. So they're just normal people like we are, and we respect the people on the shop floor. The shop floor respects us, and we always work together. It's always about working together.
Now, you open the door by saying it. What's your favorite car?
Probably a '69 Roadrunner.
Oh, okay.
So
That choice
I'm
says a
kind
lot.
of dating myself.
No, but that's okay. That says a lot. That's a good classic. I'm a '78 Corvette kind of guy.
That's a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Remind everybody how they can get a hold of Maysteel if they're interested, if they want to know more. What's the best way to do
You
so?
can get onto www.maysteel.com, and all of our applications are on there. You can call us. You can stop in at the plant and check that out. I don't know what the number is for Maysteel. I've never called it. So
Luckily, we all have Google. You know how to use it, people.
Exactly.
So, yeah, absolutely. That is awesome. Well, Steve, I want to thank you again for taking this time to come on and talk to us today about Maysteel over there in Allington. I guess I didn't realize, I've always heard the Maysteel name. I didn't realize you guys were right there in Allington, which is a great location, right off of 41 and 33. You can't beat that. So, yeah, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on and talk to us and for helping us highlight local area manufacturing.
I appreciate you having us on.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break here on Taking Care of Business. And when we come back, we're going to be talking with a representative from Lyco. So don't go anywhere on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
The following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Lyco, not WBEV or Good Karma Brands.
And thank you, Wally. Welcome back in, everybody, to Taking Care of Business. I don't know if I introduced myself earlier. If you don't know who I am by now, you obviously don't listen to the radio enough. But I'm Justin the Ninja Wilski, and I am here with Brad Weber, Vice President of Operations, I see here, for Lyco Manufacturing.
Correct.
So, Brad, since I've already spoiled what your title is, how would you tell me a little bit about what you do as Vice President of Operations there?
Well, operation covers a big part of the company. Actually, the areas that report to me are production, engineering, quality, supply chain, facilities, and then, as I always like to say, everything else that nobody else wants to deal with kind of falls in my lap.
I know how that goes. Way back in a past life, I was a hotel operations manager for Caesar's
There you
Palace,
go.
and people didn't realize that also meant casino and housekeeping and back of house and restaurant and all of that. And so that title can mean quite a bit.
It
so
does.
I get where you're coming from. Tell me a little bit about Lyco here in Wisconsin.
Okay, Lyco Manufacturing, located in Columbus. It's actually was founded in 1980 by David Zittel, who was pretty pronounced innovator in the food machinery design and manufacturing. So we're going to be celebrating, obviously, next year 45 years in business, and we continue to operate in those areas. The cooking and cooling, we make large capital food processing equipment. You know, the core products that it was built upon was pasta, rice, dry beans, and vegetables, but it's certainly expanded now. There's sous vide and pouches and pouch cooling and pasteurization and cooling. And then we have another division or another product line, which is liquid solid separation. Obviously, the same companies, these food manufacturers, use a lot of water. They're charged for water in and they're charged for water out. Right. And we have screens, what we call liquid solid separation units, that actually allow them to reuse. And in fact, one of the things we're the most proud about is we hit a really neat milestone. In 2022 alone, we saved our customers over 3 billion gallons of water. So,
wow.
People like to talk about sustainability and reuse. We're certainly one of the leaders in that market.
That is absolutely amazing. And right now, everybody's pushing for, green energy, save the planet, all of that. So saving, conserving water is a huge, huge aspect. Obviously, for being around from 1980 till now, there's been a lot of changes in the requirements that are in place when it comes to handling food, storing food, packaging food, all that other stuff. So that's obviously some changes that Lyco's had to see and go through and adapt to.
Oh, most certainly. First and foremost, everything that we manufacture is made out of stainless steel. So, it's clean. And we talk about our manufacturing environment. I would put that up against anywhere in the country as far as neat, clean, organized, and square to the world, because that's what we're all about. And really, our manufacturing facilities are as much of a sales showroom when we have customers in than any brochure or video that could certainly come about. But you're right. Food requirements, whether it be here domestically or internationally, it can get a little crazy sometimes. But we're always on the leading edge of the technologies and reinvesting in technology to make sure that we're not only on par with that, but we stay ahead of the curve as much as we possibly can.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned you're in Columbus. Is Columbus your guys' only facility, or do you have others?
No, it's our only facility. We're in Columbus, a population of about 5,000 people.
I know the city well.
We're, nestled in on Commercial Drive, and just added on 12,000 square feet, so we're growing. We're a little over 100,000 square foot facility, continue to grow in that respect, but just Columbus, but we serve the world.
What kind of a staff are you serving right now over there? Do you have on hand?
We've got 70 people, so we run pretty lean. When we talk about lean is obviously a huge component within the manufacturing industry. And we certainly adopt a lot of the lean practices, processes, and principles. But because our products are more kind of build to order, we're not stamping out 50,000 widgets a day. So
right.
Where and when we can, we apply the lean principles, which really, I have this motto. I tell everybody in the place, hey, let's figure this out, but let's work smarter, not harder, because that's how to do this, right?
That makes a lot of sense. So I'm assuming then, because a lot of your stuff is kind of one-off or as needed, you must employ not just your standard people who work with stainless steel, but I'm guessing engineers, designers,
Certainly.
things like that as well.
Yes, we have just a phenomenally talented engineering staff. In production, there's welding, there's material handling, there's forming, there's laser operations. We use cobots, some of the robotics into that. I know, other places we're experimenting with some of the laser welding and things of that nature. But
It gets me so excited.
If there's a technology out there that is going to serve us and allow us to work a lot smarter, then we're going to reinvest and invest and reinvest, continue to reinvest in it.
That is awesome. What's horrible is I grew up most of my life in Columbus, went through the entire school district in Columbus, and for the life of me, I remember seeing the Lyco sign, but I don't remember exactly where. Now that you've told me, I do. But I didn't realize you guys had been there for that long, 1980.
Well, actually, when Dave Zittel bought the company or founded the company, it actually was started in Arlington with like 3 or 4 people at most. And after a couple of years, then he moved it to Columbus. because that's where his wife and his wife's family was from. So they decided to build a small facility there, and it's just continued to grow since then.
Now, of course, being nestled in Columbus, that means you're right there on the corner of Dodge, Columbia, and Dane County. That's that unique corner that Columbus sits in. Your staff that you have, do you find that they come in from a decent distance? Are you guys pulling from a good area?
We do. We actually, from all three of those counties, our employees are based. One of the things that I know one of the other, I think Steve from Maysteel, he talked about culture. That's a big thing on our part too, is culture. We're constantly asked, how are you, are you growing? Are you feeling, how do you deal with the turnover rates? Well, we really don't have that problem. One of the things I always love to quote is that over 50% of our people have been there for 25 years or more. So we have a very unique culture, a very good employee retention. And we do that, it's not all, it's certainly through the pay and the benefits and the facilities and condition, but it's about the culture. It's about how you treat people day in and day out, and we're extremely proud of that.
Now, a lot of longevity, not a lot of turnover. Does that mean there's not a lot of open positions?
Well, there are open positions. So the good part is that over 50% of our people that have been there 25 years or more. The challenging part now is the same thing, where we're getting into retirements, and so subsequently we make sure one of the things that we're really high on doing is staying in touch with our employees to make sure those that are nearing retirement, making sure we know when they want to do that, and then subsequently we back that up and make sure we're onboarding their replacement. Maybe it's through succession within or promotion from within, or if we have to bring from the outside and bring them in as new employees, so that they're able to work along with a lot of that tribal knowledge, because that's the one thing that when somebody leaves a company, everything that they have in their head, I don't care what technology is today, you can't put a USB in them and download it. So it's very important that they work alongside, as I'd like to refer to the tribal elders, to carry the torch and the baton on to the next several generations.
I like that. I remember having a teacher tell me once that you can't put wisdom in a textbook.
That's right.
So I feel like that's kind of what you're saying right
it.
there.
Wisdom and experience will get you through a lot every day.
Talk to me about your outreach in the community as far as hiring. Are you guys working with high schools, local, manufacturing, focused tech schools?
Certainly, yeah. We work with the various tech schools, whether it be Beaver Dam, Madison, some of the surrounding areas. The high schools, we're always open to high school tours. We do quite a bit of those. We've got some really neat stories. We've got this young man that toured our facility when he was in middle school, I believe, and he looked at our plant manager and said, "Someday I'm going to work here," and stayed in touch with us. And
it's a bold statement.
He's working there, of all things. Came to us when he was ready, and he's really been one of those unique young individuals that have continues to grow and grow within our company. So, yeah, we're certainly working all the same avenues and the places that everybody else is, right?
That's very true. Yeah. Now, with the products you guys are making, especially with one-off products, one of the thoughts that always comes to mind is there has to be a level of pride in what you make, because you're making something that's very unique. There might only be 10 of them in the country or whatever, depending on the need. For those unique products that you guys are trying to take pride in, where are they going? Like, where do you see your products ending up? Are they staying domestic? Are you guys shipping stuff all over the place?
Yes. So both. So we just looked at our customer base, and if you look at the top 100 food producers across the world, we're in well over 50% of them.
Wow.
We can drop some names, but the Tysons, the Pilgrims, the Crafts, the Nestle's, those kinds of companies, and certainly the international side of the business has really taken off. As of most recently, it's usually a pretty solid line item in our financials, but this year it's really taken off. And but we're also very selective as to where we ship our our machinery. We because we may have to support that with whether it be a controls engineer or whatever. So we want to make sure that we're putting them in the right place from a safety perspective as well.
That does make a lot of sense. So obviously, people aren't going to stop needing food.
Nope.
And we're not going to stop needing a way to process it. We hear all the time about how sometimes we eat too much processed food, but all food gets processed in some way, shape, or form. And it sounds like Lyco has their hands in a lot of it. What do you see as far as going on down the road, next year or two? Are you guys looking at things picking up even more?
Yeah, actually, this year has been a really good year for us, and we're already booking well into next year. Lots of projects, lots of quotes out there. Our customer visit activity is up. We do a couple of unique things. We have a whole virtual area for our liquid solid separation area. So if a company's interested, one of the sales guys may be talking to them, and literally within 10 minutes, that plant can have their engineering staff online digitally with us or virtually with us, and with working screens in our area. On the other side of the wall of that, of course, is our lab. And that's where, so if you had this new sauce that you were going to produce in pouches, and you wanted to make sure it's pasteurized at a certain temperature and then cooled at a following temperature, and based off the volume, you ship us. A lot of customers ship us their product. We prove out their recipe, prove out the production quantities, and certainly the quality that it produces. And so we have customers in testing all of the time in our lab. So it's organized chaos at some points in time.
So it sounds like if you're out there in this world and you're enjoying the quality of the food that you're finding at your grocery store shelves and then making its way to your table, there's a good chance Lyco had a hand in it somewhere.
Well, yeah, Jeff Zittel, our Executive Vice President of Sales and Applications, he always says this. He always asks people, have you eaten a potato chip? And of course, yes.
Yeah, who hasn't?
So he said, well, then I can guarantee you that our peelers have peeled that potato. It's kind of crazy, but it's true. And we do have things like that. We have peelers that are auxiliary equipment, and then and we're also in the green bean industry, which is, that's kind of ebb and flow on that. But we have bean snippers that also are quite active, not only domestically but internationally as well.
Do you find yourself walking through the grocery store and going, we work with them, we work with them?
All the time, yeah. I never, occasionally, well, it used to be occasionally my wife would rope me into going with her to the grocery store, and now I go, and I'll go, no, not that one, this one. This one's a customer. So
there you go.
I believe in, and they spend money with us. I believe in that as well.
There you go.
Return the favor.
Reciprocation. I like it.
Absolutely.
You probably heard me ask earlier the question of, in your position, if you could do any other job there at the facility, even if it's just for a day for the fun of it, what do you think?
Well, I heard you ask it before, and I had little thought about it, but I do play in all of the arenas. That's the one unique part about us, and being it's certainly being a privately owned company, being a little bit smaller company. When we have new designs or ideas, it is pretty static that we've got representatives from the production floor to engineering to purchasing. We bring in all the players, and we'll do a brainstorming session or a round table, and that's where a lot of our ideas come from, and a lot of the design. So, in my role in operations, I get to kind of play in all of it. So it's certainly interesting and fun.
That's awesome. Give me your 60-second elevator pitch and tell people how to get a hold of you guys.
Well, certainly at www.lycomfg.com. We're located in Columbus, Wisconsin. Our number is 920-623-4152. Just give us a call, stop in. We are hiring because of our expansion and et cetera. So we've got, I think, a couple of openings now, and certainly welding, controls, engineering, and then engineering applications /sales positions. So if further interest in it, it's online. Take a look at what some of the brief job descriptions are. Or just give us a call or stop in. We'd be more than happy to, at the very least, give somebody a tour.
Well, there you go. So everybody out there listening and watching in TV land, radio land, this is Brad Weber, Vice President Operations with Lyco Manufacturing in Columbus. I want to thank you, Brad, for taking the time to come on and talk to us today.
I'll say here, we appreciate everything you do here for the manufacturers in the area.
Well, thank you. Everybody stay tuned. We do have one more guest as we're going to be talking with a representative from Vintage Parts here on Taking Care of Business 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
The following is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed during the program are solely that of Vintage Parts, not WBEV or Good Karma Brands.
And thank you again, Wally. We do welcome everybody back into Taking Care of Business with our Spotlight on Manufacturing, partnering with the Beaver Dam Chamber of Commerce to do so. Next up on the show, we have Josh Bardwell. You're the Vice President of Business Development with Vintage Parts. I want to start by saying that Vintage Parts, a little bit different from all the other groups we've talked to today, because when I think of everybody else is somebody who's making a part, making a thing, and you guys have a warehouse full of them.
We do, yeah. That we're a bit unique in that way, right? We're sort of an extension of the manufacturing process, right? Because we're looking to keep older parts on your vehicles, your equipment, your aircraft. So I think that's, it's a very unique business for sure.
So when you heard us mentioning earlier the classic Roadrunner, classic Vet, somebody in the back of your mind, you're like, I bet we have parts for those.
We probably do. Certainly Corvettes. We look at those, as you might imagine, they're a little bit more valuable than some of the other parts than maybe a Civic or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit more about what your role is there at Vintage Parts.
Sure. Great question. So I do the front end. So the teams that report to me are the front end sales, new business development, account management, and then support for our original equipment manufacturing partners, which we have over 100 of. And then customer service. I also do the after sales group, and then the digital e-commerce and the photograph team. So there's a wide range of disciplines within that, but it's a lot of fun.
All right, and I've been on your guys' website before, so I have perused through and seen some of the parts that are out there and available.
All right.
It seems like you guys have a wide variety of stuff for a wide variety of products.
Yeah.
How exactly does Vintage Parts get into the business of warehousing all this stuff and doing this?
It's a good question. Yeah, so we've been doing this in some form, right, for over 50 years now. And we've been in Beaver Dam basically that whole time. We started off as a collection of John Deere dealers, believe it or not, that knew that, hey, I have this inventory here and I don't necessarily have a need for my customer, but you over here might have a customer base that supports that and vice versa, right? So they pooled their inventory. Somebody thought, hey, this is actually a great idea, but it maybe extends beyond John Deere, right? Mm-hmm. Actually, John Deere, one of our great partners, but we've been able to expand the business to a lot of different industries, and it's super fun. We've gotten into aviation, we've gotten into like appliances, oil and gas, elevators, right? Anything with what I would consider like a long lifespan where it makes more sense to repair than to buy new, right? Because of the cost.
Right. That does make a lot of sense. Now, I've seen the facility from the outside. I drive past it on 151. I think everybody has seen the sign and everything on it. How big is that warehouse?
So we have total. We have 15 warehouses.
Okay.
Yep. We have 5 campuses. The majority of those are in Beaver Dam, but we do have one in Columbus as well. I would say overall we have, and this is sort of weird. We measure stuff on the cubic feet.
Right, because you go up.
We
as
do.
well as
We go
out.
up 40 plus feet tall, right? Narrow guided aisles. So our resource is space, of course.
Right.
So overall, we're pretty certain that we have over 25 million cubic feet of storage space. We have about 1 million unique part numbers. And it's anything from a bolt, a nut, a sensor, all the way into the, a front end support for a mining truck that's almost 12,000 pounds. Right. So it's a wide variety of stuff too, which is fun.
So I have to ask, because the dork in me, and I love spreadsheets and I love keeping things orderly, and I'm a little bit OCD.
Sure.
How do you guys manage having that kind of an inventory?
It's a good question. At times, there's no doubt it's challenging, right? We get a lot of support from our manufacturing partners that provide us with a lot of the data and the history on it. But then we have, we have an internal AS400 system that we do a lot of custom programming in, related to where we store it in the warehouse, some of the attributes that come with it, the history in terms of sales, and that kind of governs how do we move forward in terms of how many pieces should we keep? Should we keep that part? How much is still on the road or in the air or whatever? All that has to be considered, to your point.
Now, I'm assuming that because you guys aren't a standard manufacturing facility, your staffing needs have to be vastly different.
They are different. Interestingly, though, we are ISO 9001:2015 certified. We're also ASA 100, which is an aviation commercial cert. You look at cradle to grave, right? With aviation parts, you have to know who's ever touched these when and who is in possession of it to be able to go on, which makes sense, right? We all feel more comfortable that way, don't we?
Exactly. Yeah, we want to go the full trail of that.
Correct.
No doors flying off.
But we do. We're not looking at assembly positions, right? We're looking at how do you run a distribution warehouse. So you're looking at picking parts, locating, receiving the inventory, processing it, shipping it. Those are a lot of our what you'd call operational positions, right? And then we have, of course, the administrative piece, which is, sales support, customer service, IT, et cetera. But yeah, we're looking for different skill sets, no question, right?
Right. Now, I'm thinking about all the different possible things that you can bring in. I mean, you mentioned, the front end for a loader or, aviation stuff. Not all parts are created equal when it comes to size and storage requirements.
Right.
How do you guys even figure that out? What's the process you guys have to go through when you acquire a new part that you're going to store?
That's a great question. So it's interesting. Because we're ISO 9001, right? We have work instructions for requirements on how many parts can be in this location, different part numbers, what the weight can be, right, based on how, where it's being stored in the racking. I think we go up 13 levels. So naturally, the stuff that would be stored on the ground can have a different weight than the stuff at the very top, right? But in general, yeah, we do put that, but then we give a lot of autonomy to our operational people who are very, very smart in terms of yes, these are the guidelines, but then within that, you do what makes sense. Really, they're the experts, right? I'm not certainly walking around trying to do that, but somebody who has done that every day is much better equipped to be able to determine, hey, I should put this here. And we do some stuff with, we look at MSDS sheets, obviously, when you have some hazardous materials and whatnot. Our aviation parts are often stored kind of off on their own because of the different requirements they have. So we have to be cognizant of that piece. But beyond that, we do give a lot of autonomy to the actual worker themselves, and they do a great job.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you got something that's made out of, cast iron or whatever, you want to keep that on a lower level.
Yes.
But, if it's carbon fiber and light as a feather, sure, throw it up top.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a problem. What would you say, if you had to throw one out, and I know I'm putting you on the spot with this question, but what would you say is maybe the oddest thing you guys have stored there? That maybe it's a one-off or it's something that's just really weird or really cool, something that stands out to you that's warehoused?
I think the stuff that stands out to us are we've got stuff that have been there for a long time in some cases, right? Because we're supporting this could be the last piece of this in the entire world, right? It could be an engine, it could be a large radiator or something. So to me, I don't know if there's one thing, but as you walk through different warehouses, there are some standbys, and that one piece might be $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 just for that one part, right?
Oh, wow.
So those are the types of things that stand out to me. The smaller things, right? Maybe you don't notice as much, but as you walk through certain warehouses, there are things that have been in that one location for a long time, and we're holding on for that, that one opportunity.
Right.
And in some cases, we've sold quite a few of those this year, so it's been fun.
Oh,
So I don't know if I can point to one, but yeah.
No. And that does make a lot of sense because, I mean, you talked about some of the stuff like, autos, trucks, planes, farm equipment, and more. Somebody could be like, oh, well, that's the motor mount that only worked in 1980 Ford trucks.
Right.
And it was an odd shape, odd size, was
Yep.
used 1 year. We've got 50 of them.
Right.
And it's like, that's a weird thing to have just sitting on the shelf, but that could be a thing.
It is, yeah, and that's the most interesting part is each day is so different because, right, whereas, and I've been in manufacturing a lot of my life, right, you're planning way into the future. Ours is so day to day because we don't know who's going to call up or send us an email that day for that part, right? So it's about adjusting to that, but also realizing, hey, this is why we've been holding on to that part, right? To keep that piece of equipment on the road rather than forcing that person to buy new. So I love that piece of it as well, right? Making sure that we can keep original parts on original equipment.
Is there a process you guys have in place for if some part does finally get sunset entirely and it's just nobody has that anymore?
Yeah, we do. So, right, we get partners that are like, hey guys, for whatever reason, let's take these parts offline. Maybe, they've gone to an a different compatibility with the new part, and now this one we don't want it to go on machines anymore. Great, we'll take that offline, scrap it out, do all that.
Right.
I mean, I love the fact that we recycle millions of pounds a year of stuff, right? Our goal, I really think from a sustainability standpoint, there's a cool story there. And I think somebody had talked about it earlier where we're keeping as much stuff as we can out of landfills. We're sorting it all out. We're recycling the different metals. We're making sure that, unfortunately, some of these parts, right, were created for a reason, but
Right.
they never get a chance to get on equipment, right, or aircraft or vehicles. And we can give it kind of that last opportunity to do that, hopefully.
Well, that also makes sense on the other side of things because if you guys have a part that can keep something running and keep it
Exactly.
working manufacturing-wise, you're saving that giant piece of equipment potentially from
Yes.
being thrown in a landfill or just scrapped out. So that is absolutely awesome. Talk to me about any openings you guys might have, any hiring
Yeah.
you might be doing, and how people can get a hold of you for all of that.
Great question. So we're always looking for people, right? We have a really, I think, it's interesting. It's been a common theme today, right? Seasoned workforce. We have a seasoned workforce. We have several people that have been with the company 40, 45 years, right? But then it's very much the tale of how I think it is in Wisconsin, where then you have these other folks who have been with the company less than 5 years. We have a lot of that too, right? So there's this natural turnover that's taking place. And yeah, when you talk about open positions, we're always looking for different warehousing positions. In the summer, we often bring on local high school kids who often, when they do graduate, continue to work for us. So it's been a really good relationship from that aspect. But we look at, I think today we're looking for at least one locator. We're looking for people in picking, in shipping. We have some customer service positions open as well. So I think both folks had talked about it earlier. We have people that are at that retirement age, right, where they are retiring, and now we need to bring in a new group of people in some positions, and that can be a challenge, but it's also fun, right, to get that those new folks in and up on the company. So they can jump on our website. It's www.v for Victor parts PARTS inc.com. You can call us. We're right here in Beaver Dam, right off of 151. Most people have probably seen the warehouses. Those are ours, the large ones, and the sign out there. Or you could just Google us, Vintage Parts Beaver Dam, and give us a call, stop in, whatever makes sense. So, yeah.
Final question for you
Yeah.
before we have to wrap up the show.
Sure.
You yourself, having
Yeah.
worked there, been there for a while.
Okay.
Have you found any parts for your own stuff?
Yeah, we all the time. I would say we do have parts like I've got most of us have some type of lawn equipment, whether
Right.
it's a tractor or a lawnmower, maybe a snowblower, right? So you have that stuff, and then of course we all almost everybody has a car or a vehicle of some type. So yeah, I've certainly found that in the past. Most of our automotive stuff is quite a bit newer, right? So likely it's going to be something that you might have a need for on your car, truck, or otherwise. So yes, have certainly found that in the past, which is kind of fun.
Nice. We'll call that a fun little
Yeah.
Easter egg benefit there.
Right.
Awesome. Well, Josh, Bartle, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk with us today and being part of the multiple manufacturers that we are spotlighting this month on taking care of business. We know it's a little bit of time out of your day, but we appreciate you sharing it with us.
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. The proceeding was a paid program. The advice and opinions expressed during that program are solely that of Maysteel, Lyco, and Vintage Parts, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands.